and it's Real Talk on Relationships with Rihanna. I'll be coming to you every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. So I hope you'll join me and find this information that I'm sharing with you to be very valuable and to share um, with your friends if this is a topic that would be helpful to them. I would really appreciate that. I see some people are joining now. Yes, I think it's working. Please let me know that you can see me, and then I know that we're live and this is working. I'm a little bit technologically challenged. My daughters have told me this, and they know this for years. Anyway, this year I am dedicated to helping you find emotionally healthy, evolved love relationships and to feel amazing about yourself. So I want you to find and create the love that you deserve. Thank you, Chrissy, for letting me know you're here. Thank you, Michelle Turner. You're here. Thank you for joining me. I think this is working. Yay. So I want to help you to be and attract the love that you want and that you deserve. I will be clearly explaining to you every Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. Hey, Joe from New Jersey. How are you? Thanks for joining in. So I'm here to help you decide and figure out why relationships are successful and why do they fail. And tonight and over the month of January, my topic is to explain to you childhood trauma syndrome and the ACOA personality type, because this has become my niche. This has become the area that I have dedicated my life and passion to. And there's several reasons why, but we'll go into that in a second. But I just want to remind you, I'm here every Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. So please do join me and let me know topics that you would like me to cover because I would be glad to do that for you. So as we go along, I'm going to try and catch your questions. Again, this is all new to me, but at the end, please get your questions together on the topic or anything else that you'd like to ask me because I'm here to help you tonight. And I will be certain to help you. And believe me, your questions will be ones that I'm sure that can help many. So who am I and why am I passionate about love relationships and helping people find the love they deserve? Well, again, my name is Riana Milne and my fan page is Coach Riana Milne. So I am a certified life, love, and relationship coach, a licensed mental health counselor, a certified addictions professional, a newspaper columnist called My Relationship Coach, and a best-selling author. And I have two books. Fine, sorry, Love Beyond Your Dreams, Break Free of Toxic Relationships to Have the Love You Deserve, and Live Beyond Your Dreams, From Fear and Doubt to Personal Power, Purpose, and Success. Hi, Maribel from New Jersey. Oh my God, I married her. I love you, Maribel. Say hi to you and your hubby. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm also just wrapped a TV show called Radical Dating, Finding Lasting Love Over 40 with the amazing director Betsy Chassie, and she will be shopping our show. It's called a docu-series because it's totally unscripted and real. It has so much great information on coaching for love relationships, and I want to give a shout out to Scott Travis, my client, who I absolutely adore and has done so well on his journey for finding love and confidence in dating. And all the radical dating family, I hope you're here tonight with me. So who am I today? I'm in my late 50s today, and I'm in a wonderful spiritually faith-based relationship with my gorgeous and loving partner, Joey. And he is 15 years younger than I. And recently in Venice on a gondola ride, he gave me a beautiful eternity ring. Da, 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 da. You can see it. It's four cool stones, beautiful diamond stones. And it means to us that four things: to celebrate our past, our present, our future, and to love into eternity. So this is like a new thing that we kind of started, an eternity ring, and it's just a social symbol of our love and dedication to each other. So, I just want to encourage you, you can find love at any age, young, old, straight, gay, male, female, doesn't matter. I want to encourage you that love is there. So I want to help you find that love that you deserve. And over the years, my relationships were not were not so easy. As a matter of fact, they were quite traumatic. And I married young the first time at age 21 when I grew up in the 70s. I went to Penn State. That was kind of the thing our generation did. You married your college sweetheart. And I mean, from that marriage, I have two amazing daughters, Alexi Panos and Stefana Farrell, who are 33 and 34 years old and will always be such a source of light and joy and pride for me. And, if anybody knows my daughters, you know how absolutely phenomenal that they are. So, that was the result of that first marriage. Unfortunately, though, that ended when I was 26 with a large bankruptcy of $750,000. And there was a loan taken from my mother that was not money that benefited me, but I took on that loan because I felt responsible to pay her back. And I was a young girl with two young daughters. And, I had at that point developed a very strong sense of spirituality. And actually, I was studying A Course of Miracles and going to Unity Church, and I needed that to survive and stay sane and balanced while I started this brand new business. It was a model and talent agency, Riana Model and Talent, that became quite successful. It was a three-time international award-winning school. And I have many, many models and actors on my Riana Milne site and Coach Riana Milne that really became phenomenal people, actors, singers, and dancers that went to the top, and Alexi was one of them. And, I started that from nothing, just from a dream and no cash, no ability to get a loan. So I developed this mindset, which I call the Watch Me Motivational Mindset, which the Live book is about. And it helped me survive, and it helped me get through a very difficult transition, and also helped me to raise my daughters with a very positive mindset where I could encourage them to do whatever they wanted to reach their hopes and their dreams. And this became so solid in my mind to become successful over the years. And I think it really helped my daughters to become as amazing as they did. And I teach other parents today and through the years, 17 years in private practice, these types of skills. So this is what is the basis of my coaching today with my clients that I coach around the world. As a matter of fact, my most recent client is from Lebanon. So I give a shout out to her tonight. I hope she's with me. So it's really exciting to see people grow and change despite hardships, despite starting from nothing, or despite coming from a background that could be so traumatic. There is always hope, and there's skills that I can help you learn to feel amazing about love and life. But anyway, with my marriages, again, I had a few. And unfortunately, the last one, I had to stand up as my own attorney and fight for an annulment. And it was quite difficult. I'm going to plug my phone in here. Give me a timeout. Okay. It was quite difficult because this was a man I truly loved and treasured and saw me living the rest of my life with. But we discovered he had a secret life. And it was one of fraud and porn addiction and sexually acting out at his school and in chat rooms. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how did I miss this? I'm a couples therapist. I'm a marriage counselor. I'm a minister. It was really horrifying, embarrassing. I was traumatized in many ways. And I was determined to do the research to find out what happened and why. How did I miss this? How was this person such a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and a relationship that everyone thought was so loving and amazing, romantic and perfect, end up like this? So over 2 years of research, and I really discovered what causes great relationships and what causes toxic ones. And one of the top discoveries I had, and all this research again went into love beyond my dreams, live beyond your dreams, and I discovered childhood trauma syndrome and the ACOA personality type. And this surprised me because I have a triple master's in applied clinical and counseling psychology, and this was not mentioned once. I went to 2.5 years of schooling for my relationship coaching. That really does not go into psychology, so I understand that. But all my continuing education, all my education, oh my God, hours and hours for addictions, Did not mention any of this. So again, I was shocked to uncover this, and it made so much sense. So once I had this, it was like the floodgates opened, and it really helped to explain to me why so many relationships were failing and how to help them. So that was my quest, and now this is my niche and my specialty area. And if you're finding that you relate to any of this information I'm sharing for the month of January on childhood trauma syndrome and the ACOA personality type, then please keep joining in and reach out to me, because I would love to try and help you. So before we start tonight's topic, I do want to say Happy New Year's to everybody. It's a brand new year. Please be determined to keep the past in the past, because that's one thing I do encourage all my clients to look at. You cannot change the past. We can only respect the lessons that we've learned from it, grow from it, and then let it go. Release it in love, release it in forgiveness. Okay, so if you're in a coupled relationship, do not ever use the past against your partner. Be determined as a couple to work from this day forward and leave the past only as learning. So I want to encourage you to come up with three personal goals, three business goals, and three goals if you're in a coupled relationship that you discuss together. Write them down and keep them in a journal. Share them. I encourage you to share them on Facebook. Because once you share them to other people, then you have accountability. Then you feel like you must reach them, you know? And then as a couple, you keep revisiting, this is good. Let's go for this goal and let's go for that one. And then you're more of a team. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too, Maribel. So, I mean, you want to do that. Then you want to have an overall theme for your life as well. So that's like, for example, my overall theme one year was simplify my life. And that's when I was packing up my home in New Jersey and my office to move down to a condo to start my life in Delray Beach, Florida, brand new. And I was trying to get rid of a lot of old things. And sometimes that's hard because you think, oh, I might need this, I might need that. But simplifying my life was a very good thing for me. It was a very good theme for the year. And so I encourage you, come up with a word, a theme that you'll follow. All my coaching clients know to do 3 goals a day, 3 weekly goals, which are both personal and business, and then 3 monthly goals. And when you do this, you will be amazed at how quickly your life grows and you just keep developing into being your best self. And it's really quite cool to do your goals and keep revisiting them. And then when you reach a lofty goal, reward yourself with something. Like when I wrote each in my book, I treated myself to a beautiful new ring. So every time I wear the ring, it reminds me of the book that I wrote to help other people, kind of as a reward system. And then replace that goal with another one. So if you want the goal sheet for the new year, just email me, rianamilne@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to get you out that goal sheet starting tomorrow. Okay, let's get into tonight's lesson. I didn't forget about that. So we're going to define adult trauma syndrome and the 9 categories of trauma. So first we're going to talk about triggers. Now, triggers are the traumas or emotional wounds experienced during childhood that happen to come out in your adult love relationships. The ACOA, it's a short term standing for Adult Child of an Alcoholic or any child of trauma. And most people hear ACOA and say, well, I'm not that. My parent wasn't an alcoholic. But you have to remember there's 9 traumas, and those are what I'm going to go into tonight. Okay. So, hey, Joey, you're on. Thank you, honey, for joining me. Okay. So, the ACOA, and what that means is, again, these are faulty coping patterns that usually you had to use as a child that help you cope and survive anything that was going on in your household that happened to be traumatic. So if you are a child and your parents fought a lot, there was domestic violence within your home, then you're a child of trauma. Okay? There are 9. Now, again, you want to understand why you do what you do and then stop these patterns in your adult love relationships. But remember, when I talk about these, keep in mind you are a victim as a child. You didn't know any better. All you did was develop coping mechanisms that help you survive every day. So let's go into them. There's 9. You might want to take notes. If you want me to help you with this afterwards, then please email me, or I'll tell you a way to go fill out a form on my website. Okay, so the first one is if your parent had any kind of an addiction. So that could be drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, gambling, shopping, eating, hoarding, okay? Any type of addictive behavior. That is the first one. The second one is verbal abuse. Now, most people think of verbal abuse as a lot of yelling and shouting at you. Again, it could be shouting in the household. It's funny, I have a lot of Italian people that come in. It's like, well, we always shout at each other. That's our way. And this is called your normal. But let's say you would marry someone who came from a very calm and peaceful household. That partner is going to feel like you're screaming at them all the time, and they're going to feel very abused. And that would be defined as a toxic love relationship. Okay. So verbal abuse can also be a put down or being told you're not good enough. I have many people that say, I just don't feel good enough. It could be having a mother that's very critical and demanding and never hearing the words, I love you, or hearing a compliment. And they thought they were raising you just to be tough and be a survivor. Okay, remember, my parents of our generation came from the Great Depression. So a lot of our parents were tough on us because they wanted us to be survivors. They wanted us to be successful. And I know a lot of those skills my mother gave me, helped me in my 20s when I was a single mom raising my two girls and came out of a bankruptcy with nothing to start a successful business from prayers, basically. Okay, there we go. So that's verbal abuse. Okay, emotional abuse. Emotional abuse could fall under the line of neglect. Your parent wasn't around enough. You weren't sure when your parent was going to be around. Um, they never had time for you. I hear this. I had recently a client that was raised by a nanny. It's like my mom was always off working. I don't know my dad, and I was raised by a nanny. So, I mean, that's a form of emotional abuse. You never had the bond with your primary parent. Okay, so that could be a form of emotional abuse. Then there's physical abuse, rape, or molestation. Well, we all know what molestation and rape is, and of course, that's a severe trauma, either from someone you know or don't know. And ironically, most of the stories I hear are molestation and rapes from people they do know or a family friend. Friend. So this is something that's one of the traumas. Physical abuse is also beatings, being hit. I had two children in my violence school where I was working as a SAC counselor, student assistance counselor. I worked with children of trauma and emotional upset. And they were punished by their grandmother by her hitting them with metal trucks on their genitalia. So, I mean, the stories that come out as far as forms of physical abuse are amazing. I have children tell me they were hit with electrical cords or they had to go out to pick a tree branch that they were going to be hit with. Um, so, physical abuse comes in many forms. So, if you're picked up and thrown or put into a closet, anything like that is considered physical. The next one, abandonment. And there is fault or no fault abandonment. And no fault abandonment, I'll give you two examples, I'll give you three examples. If a parent dies early, that's a form of abandonment, certainly not their fault. Another one would be if a mother or father goes off to war. Again, they're serving their country. A child can say, yeah, my mom, my dad's my hero, but they also have this sense of loss and abandonment that they may grow up with. Another one may be a father or mother that has to go off, come and go from work. And I have a form of this type of abandonment. My father, who I love dearly, I'm called my father's daughter. My father's daughter, because my dad was a very emotional, loving man. Anybody that knows Jack he's a very cool guy, would help anybody. So I'm definitely my dad's daughter. But we didn't know when I was growing up, my dad was CIA and FBI. Like, go figure. And I see Don and Cindy on from high school. Did you guys know my dad was FBI? Like, how cool is that? But we knew that he was secretary of the AAU in track and field, so we always thought he was just going to track meets. But this was his work, and we found out later when he was dying with cancer that we got letters years of service. So as an adult woman, oh, okay, that makes sense why dad came and went. But as a child, I remember saying, when's daddy coming home? So, that's a form of no fault abandonment. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Would be adoption, foster care, or needing to live with aunts, uncles, grandparents because your primary parents, hey Bob, I see you're on, primary parents were not around to bring you up, or something was happening. They could have been in and out of rehab, just not able to raise you, come and go out of the household, or a community, like a tight family, might have helped raise you, aunts, uncles, even though you may not have physically lived with them. So that is another one of your traumas. And again, we're discussing adult trauma syndrome, the ACOA personality types, and the 9 traumas. All right, we're on trauma 7. Yes, 7. Okay, sibling trauma. So that is if your sibling was born with any physical challenges, or they might have developed an addiction like in their young teens. So that child got all the attention and you didn't get much of that. If there's an acting out child, or if that sibling bullied you and made you feel like crap or not good enough as a form of bullying, that could be part of the trauma. Okay, the next one is personal trauma. So if you were bullied as a kid, um, that's a big one. I mean, I grew up, I was very tall, very skinny. As a young girl, wore big, thick glasses. I prayed and prayed for contact lenses. I finally got them when I was 12. And I actually won a modeling scholarship in 8th grade, and that changed my life. But, I was teased a lot as a young girl in high school, and I was kind of quiet. And people say, how were you quiet? But I was quiet, and I kind of bonded with the quieter, more geeky people in the class. We were good buddies. And I recently went back for my high school reunion, and we sat and we kind of like raised a toast to the nerds of the class. And I felt like one of the nerds, but I loved these guys. Most of them were guys. But they all excelled and went on to such amazing things. So, and some of my high school girlfriends might think, really, were you shy? And I was kind of quiet. I was modeling off doing my own thing. And that's where my sense of self-esteem came from. So I have a little bit of that bullying thing going on. And that's why I wrote the book, Live Beyond Your Dreams, for people that might have gone through any personal bullying or trauma. So, if you ever had that feeling of I didn't feel good enough, this is a good one. Could be other children that might have felt overweight and different in any way. So personal trauma is usually a pretty big one. Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for joining in. And then the last one is family trauma. And that could be any family that is family of poverty, losing. Hey, Scott, yay, you came back. Thanks for coming back on. Any family that went through loss of home by flood or fire, a parent that might have been incarcerated, again, a lot of going on within the household of domestic violence. So that family trauma, poverty is one of the big ones. So those are the things that I really look at. And then we do what's called an ACOA sheet. And I help break down the subcategories of the ACOA type. And there is a severity index of 1 to 10. So, for example, when I remember my brother Jack and I stole a pack of gum at Acme Markets when I was 6, my dad, the only time he spanked us with a belt was that time. So, do I remember physical beating? Once with a belt, and that would be rated like a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. And then, unfortunately, I do hear other stories, many stories in my practice of those, being put in a closet or beaten on a daily basis or never knowing when they're going to be beaten or anything else really more traumatic. Of course, those are going to be rated a 9 or a 10. A rape is always a 10. Molestation, always a 10. So I look at each of the 9 traumas, how many you may have had, do the ratings of the 1 to 10. There's the ACOA checklist that's out there. There's this overall score, but I don't do it that way. I don't do an overall score. I do a personal score, and it's not a number that I work with. I work with where your trauma is coming in, what do we need to work with, and I describe this journey as a rainbow. Okay, and on the other side is a pot of gold, and it is a learning curve. And we're starting here at unconscious, not knowing why I do what I do, hurting other people. Hi, Ron, don't steal from the supermarkets. Good one. I will never steal from your markets, I swear to God. I learned my lesson at 6. So, the learning curve, we're starting you with the base. And you're going to learn a little, and then you drop. And then you learn a little, and you make a mistake. And this is all okay. Because what we're doing is making your unconscious conscious. We're changing up these childhood coping mechanisms that were your ways to survive. You know, you needed to do this as a kid. You might walk into your home. What was I going to get today? You just didn't know. For example, many children learn to become people pleasers. So these are some of the people that don't stand up for themselves in relationships. Or you might have become a brilliant liar. Why? Because if you think you did something wrong, you got a bad test grade, you made one of those F's and A, and you hope you get away with it because you might get beat if they know you failed a test. You know, lying was a way to survive. But if you became so good at it that as an adult in your love relationship, lying tends to come so easily and quickly, and then your partner feels deceived. And that's when the love relationships start falling apart. So we look at where your coping mechanisms are. Some people do no lying. That's not their thing. But remember, there's a whole list that I look at. We figure out what are your subtypes, and then we work on your individual. So there is a way to change this, and that's the good news. Like, we had to take your unconscious thoughts, words, and actions from a trigger, meaning that childhood stuff that comes up when you're afraid. You're going to go into usually a trigger or a coping mechanism that's going to hurt your relationship. So you make your unconscious conscious because you can't change what you don't understand. So the goal is to make you consciously aware. And to help work on this, we divide your days into thirds. So from morning to lunch, at lunchtime you look back and say, how did I do this? And then from dinner to lunch, we look at, did you do good today? Did you make sure you didn't lie? You were totally authentic. You totally spoke from the heart and the mind. And then you look again from going to bed back to dinner. So it really helps when you divide your days into a third when we're working on breaking these bad habits. And remember, it's 30 days to break a bad habit and 30 days to make a good one. So most people feel like a life change, and it first comes as recognition a lot from friends or a partner. Like your friends are like, wow, like you're not negative anymore. Like a lot of people will have negative thoughts because, again, it's what you hear, it's what your normal is. So if you, unfortunately, most human beings, 8 out of 10 of their thoughts are negative, not positive, unless you had parents that knew positive mindset work and encouraged you to go for your hopes and your dreams. For example, my daughter Alexi Panos, when she was 6, I remember her watching Save the Children commercials. And she said, Mom, I want to go to Africa and help save those kids one day. And I'm like, baby, I know you will. And I said, it's so matter of fact and so absolutely, I was certain she would do it. And she's doing that today. She's put in, I think, 12 water wells in Tanzania. So, if you know these parenting skills, and I do teach a lot of parents these skills, then you can raise very resilient and authentic, consciously positive kids. And it's so amazing how far they go in life because there's no fear. That's a whole nother conversation, living in the light or living in the dark. And I will be teaching you that because it's great stuff. Okay, so going on to the triggers. Again, there's 2 subtypes. There is the perfectionistic, rigid, and controlling subtype. And that's the kind that really ruins relationships because you want to micromanage your partner. You want to change how they look, how they talk, what they say, what they do. And eventually, Scott, you're right. And eventually, you're going to distance your partner because supposedly you fell in love with them for one reason. Let them be themselves. And this is when the relationship starts falling apart because that partner is going to want to fight you. Look, this is who I was when you met me. Let me be me. So that's the toxicity that comes into the adult love relationship. Then the other subtype, let me go back to perfectionist rigid. If you're a perfectionistic type, you tend to be very successful at what you do at work. Okay. So there's a lot of very successful people that had childhood trauma syndrome. And, it's when you go to work and you're organized, you're going to be very. So again, this is a positive way that ACOA or childhood trauma can be helpful to you. And the children of trauma are very loving, very emotionally connected, very insightful, very aware, and they want love more than anything. So they're very loving partners. So my goal is to take that love and take out the negativity from it and the negative coping mechanism and just be pure mind, pure heart, and coming from the light and love based words, thoughts, and actions. Again, your unconscious will become conscious. So that's what we will help you do. You can't change what you don't understand. So we make you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and then pretty soon you just keep tapping into it and you correct it. And then you correct it again. So, okay, let's go into the second subtype. That's disorganized and impulsive. And the impulsive subtype is what my ex-husband had. He was impulsive. So anybody that's, into sex addiction, porn, a secret life, gambling, acting out, I'll do what I want when I want, but they tend to do it in secret. And this is what we call the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality type. And if you've ever seen the Broadway play or the movie, you probably didn't make this connection. But Dr. Jekyll was the man who was admired in the whole community. Everybody loved him. He was the doctor. He was charitable. He was wealthy. He was handsome. Everybody loved him. Mr. Hyde was that dark, hidden personality that went out at night and ravaged women and then murdered. So if you watch that play, watch it again, on TV or in the movies, because it's really going to bring like cool insight to the ACOA personality. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So the impulsive subtype is one that we have to really work hard with. And there's 4 questions that I ask everybody to learn, but especially this one. Will this action, word, or deed hurt me, the woman, or the man in any way? Hurt the partner that I love? Hurt my children or extended family? Or hurt my reputation on the job or in the community? And if any of those are a yes, you do not do the behavior. So normally I get people in from this subtype when they've lost everything. Their reputation, their job, their income, the person they love, and their life is a mess. And they finally say, why do I keep doing what I do? How did I keep losing my partners that I love? So, Michelle, I'm looking at your comment. Um, I'm sorry that you didn't receive that affection or hear those words of encouragement. I understand that. I didn't hear the words "I love you" from my mother. I actually had it when I was 24 years old after I had my first daughter, Stefana, and I kept saying, "I love you, Mom. I love you." And she goes, "Yeah, me too." I finally heard that, and then she learned to say those words, and that was very healing for me. And we healed, and of course I forgave everything. Her mother was very difficult and critical, and she grew up in the Depression. So again, we look at where did your parents learn these skills? Like were they in trauma as children? So unfortunately, much of this goes through the generations unless you learn to stop it. So when we can stop it with you and learn what to do if you're a parent, how to raise your children to be loving and confident and positive mindset, then we stop. We stop the lineage of this stuff. So that's why it's such an incredible thing for me to have learned this research. And I'm like, why didn't I learn this in college? Like, this is the most important thing I could have used. It's a shame that they don't teach us about, love relationships in high school or college, anywhere, even in my master's program. But, that's why this is my niche and my specialty area to help people suffering from it. So that is my topic tonight. Is there any questions from anyone I can answer on the 9 traumas? Please type them in. I see them coming up on my phone, which is awesome. That means this is working. As you're typing in your questions, I want to tell you for next Sunday, it will be every Sunday I talk about relationships. Maribel, okay, I don't understand why they keep doing what they're doing, knowing it may hurt someone they love. People do what they do because they're not living a conscious life. They're not thinking about it. It's so normal for them. It's what I call their normal, that they're just so used to it, they don't think anything is wrong. So some of the typical things that you're going to see is constant lying or blaming, people pleasing. How we can help them, there's definite help. That's the program I've designed for singles looking for love and for couples to fix love. The couples program is called Relationship Rescue, and I'm treating three entities, one partner, the second partner, and the relationship. There's three entities to help heal and grow. So, and it's really interesting because ACOAs attract ACOAs. And as I said, these people are very loving and affectionate and want love in the worst way, almost so much that they hold on too tight. They become obsessive, they become jealous, controlling, and then they end up losing the relationship they crave and they really want. So this is why it's so important to get help for this and I wouldn't do a therapist, find the relationship coach. I'm a combination therapist coach because what I do is I examine the past. I understand the psychological dynamic. I help bring light to it, and then we bring you up to the now and give you the skills to fix this and change this, okay? And then plan for your future and do the future together. So there's all kinds of skills that you would learn. Um, okay, I have a question from Bob. Divorce, I thought was my trauma. It turned out to be the best thing that happened to me. I know, we did good, Bob. Love you for all your help. Thank you. And you have a special woman in your life. Yay! Awesome, Scott. How about someone who thinks it's never their fault? It's always someone else. This is called blaming, and this is very, very common. Again, when you're one of the top skills that we learn is taking responsibility for when you do something wrong. We are all human. We all make mistakes. Again, as a child of trauma, you hid that. You lied about it. You didn't want to talk about it or admit it because you had gotten hurt. So it's understandable that that was your coping mechanism. But as an adult, if you keep blaming your partner instead of saying, look, I take responsibility for this, and you learn a calm, loving way to communicate through this blaming behavior. There's certain questions you learn to ask. Say, well, I'm sorry. Let's say they blame you and say, well, you made me mad, okay, for unloading the dishwasher, loading the dishwasher improperly. Say, well, I'm really sorry I made you mad. Why don't we talk about it? We can work this through together. Okay, and then, hopefully I'm helping this couple learn not to blame. If it is a parent situation, now keep in mind a lot of the partners will not want to go for help. Why? Subconsciously, there's shame and some guilt in this stuff, and they don't want to admit that they're wrong because they're so used to not admitting that they're wrong. So they learn that when you accept your responsibility, it actually makes you feel good. It makes you feel confident. It makes you feel self-aware. It builds character. You learn to say, I'm sorry, will you forgive me, means you have character, you have strength that makes you a good person. And other people will like you more because you're accountable. This is what we call being authentic and having accountability. So, yeah, it's educating both partners. But if your partner will not go for help, you start. Because I've had many people come in as a couple with one partner starting. And what we do under Relationship Rescue, there's life coaching, actually for singles and couples. There's life coaching for 7 modules, and then we get into the heavier stuff as a couple. But as you are building confidence and being different and reacting differently to your toxic partner, they're going to notice you're changing. And one of two things are going to happen. One, they're going to want to help because um, Okay. ACOAs, one would think that we know and understand our pain. How do you actually deal with that person? Okay. So again, two things will happen. Your partner will also want to get help because they see you changing, or you're going to be very calm and say, listen, this is not working for me. I need this or that to happen, one or two things to happen to feel happy in this relationship. And if it's not, then I'm sorry, I'm going to have to release you in love because it's just not working for me. So you're going to stop the screaming back and forth. You're going to quietly and calmly speak your needs and say, if you won't go for help, if you refuse to go for help, that is your prerogative. I understand, but I'm going to have to leave this relationship. So, it's funny, like I said, when my materials come to you or you take them home, very often your partner will pick up Love Beyond Your Dreams, Break Free of Toxic Relationships, and read through the book. I had a couple this happen to, and the guy calls me, refused to come in, goes, Riana, I want to talk to you. I'm the husband of so-and-so, and actually, I would like to talk to you about what I'm reading in your book. I think I'm doing this. Okay. Um, so if it's your best friend or best girlfriend doing this, you want to sit down and have an honest talk. Start. I have a formula. Compliment, compliment, ask. Listen, you're my best friend, and you know I love you, and we have a really great relationship. However, I'm really concerned when you do this or do that to me. It's really hurting my feelings, and I'm learning to be a better person, and I'm trying to be with positive people, and if the negativity doesn't stop, then I think we're going to lose our friendship, and I don't want that to happen. Will you work with me to learn some new skills so we can get along better? Okay, so that's what you could do if it's one of your good friends. If it's a parent, again, being honest with your feelings, being calm, and I always say come from the heart, meditate on what you want to say, get it together, and be heart-centered, lead with love, partner really well, but how can we help them? Let's see. If you know your partner really well, how can you help them? Again, trying to give them books to read, try to have calm and loving conversations, and again, if your partner refuses to change, that relationship may not last over time. So hopefully, if you're someone in a partnered relationship and you start the program, start sharing what you're learning, leave the books out and around, and hopefully they will read it too. And that's what happened with this married couple. He ended up coming in. They sold the home that they were having all this trauma and toxic behavior in. They ended up buying a brand new home, started a brand new life, forgave the past, never discussed the past again. That's one of the rules. Michelle, I'm sorry, I missed your question. Could you retype it quickly for me and I'll make sure I address it? Um, yes, Scott, you can call me at any time. You're one of my clients if something doesn't work. And, that relationship did end up working, and they definitely left the past in their past because he had a history of cheating. She was upset about it, but she loved him, and this was her last attempt at making this work. And he was totally on board, totally did the program, did not want to lose the marriage. They were in their late 60s. It would have been ridiculous to break up the marriage, and now they have a very happy, loving life, and I'm so proud that they did this work together and stuff. Michelle, let me see if I can find your question. Okay, here you are. Okay, something we inherited from our parents and they learned from their parents. And is it too late to change the generation actions that we inherited from ours when you have a 16-year-old daughter? She's already said that I'm very negative and not very encouraging. Okay, Michelle, it's never too late. There is a lot of parenting skills that I do teach. Remember, and I've worked in the schools, I've worked with kids from K all the way through college, so I have a lot of parenting experience. Teenagers are supposed to find out who they are. So if they want to dye their hair purple, let them dye their hair purple. If they're dressing in a certain weird way, let them do it. Of course, there's a boundary. You don't want them experimenting with drugs and that type of thing because you love them and you want them to be safe. Um, but we have to be very encouraging of their dreams. And, I remember when I lectured at high school, I say to the high school kids, what are your dreams right now? What are the 5 things or 3 things you'd like to do right now? And that's what you go for. So believe in their dreams, even if it's I want to be an artist, because being an artist can lend then into home interior design. I have one current client right now, an amazing animation artist, but he's working for the family business. And I said, well, do the family business and let's see how your skill as an animation artist, and I'm going to post some of this stuff because it's amazing, you can do it as a hobby. And now he's working with his uncles to do like 13 children's books, and he's so excited. So he's doing this as his passion work, but he's still making a good living doing what he's doing in his other business. So we find a way to let the hobbies come through. So through the generations, Michelle, if you are a child of trauma and you're bringing some of these um, patterns into how you raise your daughter, first thing is to, again, make the unconscious conscious, be consciously aware of your thoughts, words, and deeds or actions, what you're doing. So it really involves slowing everything down and really thinking before you do. Um, Communication with ACOAs, people with respect. Yeah. Integrity is the number one word that I teach. Do the right things when nobody's looking. And I always say, second, after all, God is looking. I'm a spiritually based person. And nobody gets away with anything. So when you live in integrity, you really come to love the person that you are because you have great self-respect. However, the ACOA who is unconscious is doing a lot of actions that are not proper by their partner, that's going to hurt their partner. And obviously that was what was done with me. And when there's no trust, you just can't trust your partner. So there is communication skills. But the first thing, make the unconscious conscious. Slow down everything. It's going to feel really weird at first. But think, before you talk to your daughter, Michelle, am I saying something kind? Am I saying something that's encouraging? Am I telling her she's an amazing person? Teenagers need to hear that so much. And I did a tape with Alexi one time, and she goes, Mom, I never remember you yelling at me, not once. And you brought me up to believe I could do anything I wanted to do. And at 20, I'm in Africa looking to put in water wells. So there's a way to parent using the mindset work. And the mindset work is clearly described in my book, Live Beyond Your Dreams, From Fear and Doubt to Personal Power, Purpose, and Success. So it is in that book. That book's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, both of my books, anywhere on the web, or you can get one from me if you want it signed. But this program for those of trauma and the ACOA, it is definitely a combination of mindset work, which must be done first. If you're single and looking for love, I tell my singles, don't even date until you get into my life program. It's all together, but we do life skills first because you have to feel amazing about yourself before you go out and date. Okay? And then second, we go into identifying any toxic behavior. And as you're living the Love Beyond Your Dreams book, there's like 16 personality types that are described as toxic that usually come from childhood trauma. So you have to read it with a real open mind. Am I doing any of this? Oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I have to learn to correct it. So, I had a guy walk in once, sat down, and goes, all right, I figured it out. I'm narcissistic. I'm like, what? He goes, I totally am, Riana. How do I fix it? And I said, well, congratulations. That's a lot of guts that you picked this out and you're having this concern. So let's work on this today. So that's what my clients do. We have a real conversation. They bring in their questions and we work on the most pressing thing. And then there's always more education. I'm like so pro education. I guess that's from me working in schools or having my model and talent school. I've been in schools my whole life teaching, I guess. So, yeah, so that's how we do it. We break down, and then section 4 of the book is what is the emotionally healthy, evolved love relationship look like? Because we were not taught in school, not high school, not colleges, not even in my master's program. What? Thank you, Bob. I'm glad you're. You still use my happy guy, my squishy toy. I don't have one of those sitting around here. I have to show it to you. But good. I'm thank you for buying my book, and I'm glad it's been helpful to you. But that's like a roadmap of what emotionally healthy love looks like. So you definitely want to read that, and then you keep asking yourself, am I doing this? Do the checklist with your partner and say, babe, let's sit down, and we did this New Year's Eve. We went through some of these checklists and say, are we doing this? Are we doing that? What can we do better? And you can become so skilled at saying, you know what, I'm not doing that very well. I can do better for that, for you on this topic. And again, we're all human. Life gets in the way. We all have stress. We all do our best. But with accountability, you say, I can do better with this one. And again, if you have a request of your partner, compliment, ask for what you need. I love you, baby. I love our relationship. I'm a little concerned that you've been angry or anxious lately. Is there anything you want to talk about, or is there something going on that I could help you become less anxious? So that formula does help to work through issues. And remember, there's no perfect relationship. There's always going to be things that come up, always challenges. But when you're living in the light, which I'm going to go into in another talk, but all my coaching clients that are on know what it means to live in the light or live in the dark. But when you're living in the light with a positive mindset, you already are expecting challenges to come up. So it's okay. So all you have to do, again, think, what do I have to do? How do I say and express my needs? Can I do it calmly and with love? Is there any other questions I can help you with? Okay, well, next Sunday, the 15th at 7:30 Eastern Time, we are doing identifying the triggers and the sabotaging behaviors when we're dating. Oh, Joey has a question. How can everyone, all ACOAs, receive your coaching that live around the world? Is it easy? Yes, I do coach worldwide. As I said, my last recent person that signed up is a beautiful young woman from Lebanon. She's really, really cool. She's just started. She is a single looking for love, and we do this by Skype. So I sit either at my home or in my office, and I mail out the materials to you, even if I mail them around the world. I mail out my books and my workbook. I happen to have a workbook here. It looks like this. It's 200 pages. It's really cool. Some of the information is from RCI, my coaching school, Relationship Coaching Institute. That was amazing. I went there for 2.5 years. And the majority, like 85%, are papers that I've developed from my research. So you're not going to find them in any other coaching program, and the notebook is not available, sorry guys, for purchase. It's only available because it's interactive. You do the worksheets, and how you answer these sheets is how then I coach you to solve your most intimate, ongoing problems or triggers or things that you want to work on. So it's interactive, and every person is different. Of course, Love Beyond Your Dreams and Live Beyond Your Dreams are available in the bookstores or online. Um, but I do coach around the world, and I love it. And of course, my Delray Beach office in Florida, you can come in, give me a call, we'll set up an appointment. I coach singles looking for love or couples looking to fix love. And I would love to help you with this topic. If you need help, please reach out to me. My website is rianamilne.com, and there's a pop-up form that name, phone number, and I would like your Skype address. My Skype address is Coach Riana Milne. And I will do up to 1 hour coaching strategy session with you and to address your issues and to see if I can help you, if it's a good fit for me to coach you and if you're interested in coaching. So I do that for anybody over 21 years old. And the other thing is I have a free app. You can get that for any phone, iPhone, the other one, Android. Just download that. It's called My Relationship Coach. My articles can be found at the Pineapple newspaper. Of course, I have a ton of articles at rianamilne.com. And my videos. I do have a video and a couple articles. Hey, Tom, how are you? I have a lot of articles on rianamilne.com that are very educational, as are my little mini tapes. And hopefully they can help you. But I'm here to help you the best that I can. And again, any personal help you want to write me about, just do it through that contact form on rianamilne.com, or you can write me directly at rianamilne@gmail.com. And I will be here next Sunday doing identifying triggers that are sabotaging your love relationships when you're single and dating and looking for love. So, thank you, Joey. Love you too, baby. So, thank you for joining me tonight. If you found this information valuable and you know anyone that was suffering from childhood trauma syndrome, or your single friends who've been dating and the relationships just don't work out, either they seem to have toxic stuff because of their childhood trauma, or they're attracting toxic, troubled lovers, this series would be great for them. So please send it out. Please share it. Please tag them. If there's any topics you would like me to touch on as we go on in this series every Sunday night, just let me know. Just email it attached to this video or email me, and I'll be glad to bring up any topics each Sunday when I talk to you at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, this is Relationship Talk with Riana Milne. And as always, I wish you a blessed, amazing life and for you to have the love. Thanks, guys. Bye. Have a great week. And do those goals for New Year's Eve, too. All right. See you later.